Yes, welcome back. Or if you're new to the show, welcome to another podcast episode. I am Kelvin Dooley, and please do me a favor, like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. You could also hit the notifications button and be notified when I drop a new video every week. I'm back today to give you guys a new video reviewing episode 2 of the franchise It Starts Here, done by the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I will be bringing you guys a review after every episode for the remainder of this off season. I had 3 big takeaways from episode 2. Number 1, the all access, the inside look into second-year player Derek Nottie. Prior to this all access look into Derek Nottie and his visit back to his alma mater in Florida State University, I didn't know much about Derek Nottie, and I assumed the rest of Chiefs Kingdom didn't either. Leaving that episode, I thought plenty of Derek Nottie. Seems like an awesome young man. Unlike the likes of a Kareem Hunt, a Tyreek Hill, hell, I'll throw Frank Clark in there. Derek Nottie is a player you want to build this franchise not around, but you want to build this franchise with players like Derek Nottie. Very goal-oriented, driven, leadership, humble, hardworking, a lot of character, right? Very well respected, at least when he went back to the campus of Florida State, right? The players participating in Florida State's Pro Day were more than happy to take pointers and leadership advice from Derek Nottie. And Florida State is full of NFL talent, year in, year out. They were more than happy to take advice from Derek Nottie. Attended college, not only had goals of having success athletically, but also left college and had goals of achieving an academic degree as well. Very goal-oriented. He has goals, and he looks to accomplish those things. His relationship with his academic counselor and his defensive line coach, I thought plenty of that. I love everything that I saw from Derek Nottie in his trip back to Florida State. I loved it. And by the way, he carried barbecue sauce with him because he always showed up at that vendor buying jumbo sausages. I just thought that was great. I loved it. Again, this is players like Derek Nottie that you want to build a franchise with, which goes to show that the Chiefs did their scouting. They did a phenomenal job scouting the talent that is Derek Nottie. Derek Nottie didn't even have the Chiefs on his radar, if you guys noticed, prior to being selected. And to be selected by Kansas City again, which goes to show that Brett Veach and company, that whole scouting department, did a wonderful, wonderful job. That is a player that I am excited that we have in Kansas City. My second takeaway from episode 2, the Frank Clark trade. Now, they didn't offer up a lot, nothing that I didn't know, or I assume nothing that Chiefs Kingdom didn't know prior to the trade. But there was a very significant soundbite in the episode that really stood out to me. Brett Veach had a soundbite. He had a soundbite, and I quote, "I told you we were going to get this done. I told Frank Clark like this. This was 5 years in the making right here." End quote. I'm going to read that one more time. "I told you we would get this done." Now, he was on the phone when he said this. Let me say that. "I told you we would get this done. I told Frank like this. This is 5 years in the making right here." That quote right there, that soundbite tells me that 5 years ago, Frank Clark out of Michigan was on Brett Veach's radar. 5 years ago. And if you can't get them coming out of the NFL draft, look for them during their final year of their rookie contract. and it came full circle for Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs. And if I'm not mistaken, D Ford came out 4 seasons ago, 5 years ago, and they had to settle for D Ford, which it paid dividends for what, one full season, just one. Frank Clark, I honestly don't see him as an elite pass rusher. I think he's tier 2. I think he's at the top of tier 2. I think where he deserves a lot of credit, or at least benefit of the doubt, that of the top 3 or 4 guys, they're all 28, 29 years old. Frank Clark is only 25. I don't think he's elite, but he's on that line. And he's only 25, so he's entering his prime. He is entering. If he's not already there, he is entering his prime, and he's damn good. Frank Clark, over the last 3 seasons, certainly has. A lot of people seem to think that he is elite based off his resume, his catalog the last 3 seasons. Again, I don't think so, but he's right there. He's amongst, or he's on that line. So, according to Brett Veach, with that soundbite, this man has been on their radars for years. And again, if you can't get them coming out of the NFL draft, you get them on their rookie contracts, and it paid dividends for the Chiefs. It all came full circle. I thought that soundbite right there just shows the persistence, shows that Brett Veach is always looking to improve this team, even if it's guys coming out of the NFL draft 4 years ago that he and his scouting department was high on. If you can't get him then, you can get him now. And I thought that was cool. I think that move alone, that persistence, that consistency from Brett Veach, Chiefs Kingdom, we are in good hands. We will not see the mistakes that we've seen from Dorsey. We will not see it. We just will not. Brett Veach, I mean, that was wonderful. And I thought highly of that soundbite. I thought that was pretty cool. My final takeaway, the Chiefs heading into this draft, we're looking at the corner position, and Brett Veach thought the corner position was the most talented position in this NFL draft. If not talented, at least really, really deep, or at least top heavy. The talent at the top of the draft he thought was huge. He couldn't get the 2 guys that he really, really wanted, guys that he thought would be great fits for Steve Spagnuolo in his defense. And Rock Ya-Sin and Byron Murphy, both of these guys went 34th and 33rd respectively. The Chiefs couldn't get their hands on neither one of those guys. And there was some second-round talent or some corners available in the second round, not as late as 60 or not as late as 51 or 56 where they got Mecole Hardman, 56. There wasn't first-round talent there. I think there were only 3 or 4 first-round talent corners in this year's draft. So there wasn't that type of talent there. But having the likes – not being able to get Rock Ya-Sin and Byron Murphy, I think the Chiefs, what they didn't want to do is reach. They could have gone for a corner at pick 56 or 62nd if they didn't decide to trade up. They could have reached and tried to extend and get a corner, but they stayed put. Or at least, they didn't stay put exactly, but they moved up a couple spots. They said, since we cannot get our corner, and how about this? I think on a whim, because I think Tyreek Hill really threw a monkey wrench in the Chiefs' draft plans, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, all of his dirt, a lot of what we've seen over the last 3 months with Tyreek Hill, all started prior to the NFL draft. His situation really threw a wrench in what the Chiefs' draft plans was, and I think they said, since we can't get our corner right here in the 50s or in the 60s, we're going to take Mecole Hardman and improve this offense. Or not improve, but give Patrick Mahomes, with Tyreek Hill's uncertainty, at least another weapon. And I thought that was pretty cool. Another thing that stood out, Clark Hunt sitting down with Brett Veach. When they were talking about Byron Murphy, he asked about Byron Murphy's leadership. And at that position specifically, we've seen the likes of Marcus Peters, who wasn't much of a leader. Very, very talented, but not the leader, right? And we've seen, again, the likes of Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill. We haven't really had a lot of success in terms of leadership from a young upcoming talents. So just hearing Clark Hunt ask that simple question, how much of a leader is he? Is he a leader? Asking about Byron Murphy. Because Brett Veach made it a priority to talk about how Rock Ya-Sin was voted team captain, I think 2 weeks into being a Temple player, making the team. Just 2 weeks into his tenure with Temple, he was voted a team captain. He didn't make it a priority to say that about Byron Murphy. Not to say that he wasn't a leader, but Rock Ya-Sin had that, that quality. He didn't speak that of Byron Murphy. And Clark Hunt went out his way to say, how is he as a leader? And just asking that simple question goes to show, you know what? Again, going back to Derek Nottie, that's a leader right there. Chris Jones, a leader right there. Frank Clark, from what we've seen in the soundbite and during that whole trade, he seemed like a leader, certainly on the field. He seems respected within the huddle and by his defensive teammates. Clark Hunt, and look, I'm sure Clark Hunt was embarrassed from Kareem Hunt's wrongdoings and Tyreek Hill's wrongdoing. You don't want to keep continuing to take those players out of the NFL draft. You don't want to continue to do that. So I'm looking to Brad Veach and I'm saying, look, how is he as a leader? We don't want to repeat that because the last 6 months as a Kansas City Chiefs fan have been pretty embarrassing, to be quite honest. So I thought that was pretty cool. Again, Tyreek Hill really threw a monkey wrench in the draft plans of the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs decided not to reach for a corner at 56. They decided to trade up, and with Tyreek Hill's uncertainty, give Mahomes another weapon. And Clark Hunt just asking about the leadership qualities of these young men. All of that stood out during Brett Veach's and Clark Hunt's sit down when discussing their top 2 corner prospects in the NFL drafts. Those right there are my 3 biggest takeaways from the episode as a whole. Again, I will be bringing you an episode review after every episode for the remainder of the offseason. Please like, comment, or subscribe. I am Kelvin Dooley. You'll hear from me again. Thank you guys for joining.